Welcome to something short and sweet in the Parsha. This week, Parshas Vayechi, a Parsha which contains the blessing that reverberates throughout the ages. Yisimcha Elokim Ephraim v'chi Menashe. A parent places his or her hand on the head of their son and says that you should be like Ephraim and Menashe. Why Ephraim and Menashe? Why shouldn't that boy be like Avraham Avinu, like Yitzchak Avinu, like the author of the blessing himself, Yaakov Avinu? So today we're going to do something a little different. I would like to bring you an essay from Reb Zalman Sorotzkin, the Lutzker Rav, lived from 1881 to 1966, the end of his life, one of the great Torah leaders in the Holy Land. He has a beautiful essay in explaining this. Now, Reb Zalman's Pirush on the Torah as Naim LaTorah is a classic. We know that there are ayin panim LaTorah. There are 70 facets to the Torah. And Reb Zalman's Pirush, I believe, is written through the eyes of history and often the eyes of current events. Listen to this explanation of that emotional bracha. Hine Chazal Dorshu. Chazal have expounded nearby. Shirotza Yaakov Legalos Hakates. Yaakov Avinu wanted to reveal the end of time. Mashma, that implies. Shira'o be'enu ruach es hagolios arakates. That he saw in his mind eye the exiles till the end of time. V'ra b'nei Yisrael mefuzarim u'mufuradim b'dalat kafos haaretz. And he saw Klal Yisrael scattered four corners of the earth. Es haradifos v'hagazeros she'umos ha'olam gozos aleim. The decrees and the pursuits, the massacres that have been perpetrated by the nations. Ra'o gam es hashach shahanafshe shalahem. He saw the destruction of them spiritually, ekev hagolios v'haradifos, because of those exiles. Ra'o, he saw sherabim chalolim hipila hagolos b'Yisrael, that the exile brought many, many casualties. Chalalei hagufa kedushas Hashem, many people who gave their very lives for the sanctity of God's name. Vira'a she'atzumim haruge hagolios hamesim misas neshika, that even more than those who were physically killed were those who died by misas neshika, by a kiss of death. Misas neshama, the death of their soul, the guf kayim, while their bodies are still alive. Umisbolalim ba'amim, they became completely assimilated into the nations. They welcomed them into their society. And what happened? Emancipatio b'chol hadoros, the emancipation and the enlightenment throughout the generations, hipila chalolim b'Yisrael, yoser mikol hashchitos v'hapogromim. That caused more casualties than all of the massacres, than all of the pogroms. I once said this in shul, and somebody, very wonderful fellow, he got a little upset. You're downplaying the Holocaust, you're downplaying the Crusades, etc. And the truth is, no. Don't mean at all to downgrade physical suffering or those slaughters. To the contrary, when we appreciate what those were and appreciate that what happened to us spiritually over the ages has been even worse. It's very interesting. Yaakov Breish was a gadol who lived through the Holocaust. And actually, he literally met the Nazis face to face, and he was able to escape. And for the end of the war, he spent it in Zurich, Switzerland. So he witnessed the entire thing. And in 1946, he gave a Shabbos Shuvah drasha in which he forecasts the losses of Jewry through assimilation in the next 50 years. And he said that there will be greater losses spiritually than there were in the Holocaust. And sociologists have corroborated his prophecy. And he's someone who lived through the Holocaust. He wasn't making light of the Holocaust. Why is it that we're always the same 15 million Jews? Why is it that way? So we here in this country and looking around at our neighbors, especially during this season, we know very well why that is true. Ve'ein l'cha am. Listen to the way he says it. There is no people. She'ein dam Yehudim nishbach al yodo. That didn't have Jewish blood spilled through their hand. V'she'ein dam Yehudim me'urav bevanov. And that doesn't have the blood, Jewish blood, mixed into their lineage. The Yaakov and Yaakov Avinu, shehiktim lehispal hatzileni miyad ochi. You remember when after all those years, he met up with Esav, and before that he prayed to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, hatzileni na, please save me, miyad ochi, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esav. We know that Esav is his brother, and the commentaries say, and this is what Reb Zalman's echoing, he was saying 2 points. Save me from the hand of my brother who, quote unquote, loves me, my brother who stretches out his hand to me and welcomes me into his halls of his universities and the halls of government. Guard me from my brother Esav, miyad achi, and miyad Esav, hashofech damim, who will spill my blood. So this Yaakov, who saw the future and who had a great appreciation for the adversary, Esav with the sword and Esav with an outstretched hand. Ra es Ephraim u'Menashe. Now he sees his grandchildren. B'nei HaMishna LaMelech, the sons of the viceroy. Asher kol hecholei hamada pesuchim lifnehem. All the halls of culture were open to them. V'chol hamasharos b'memshala penuyos ba'adam. And every single ministry, every single office was free for them. They could have walked in. They could have had an amazing job, power. And all the princes, all the important people in the land would have loved to give their daughters as wives to Menashe and Ephraim. Ulamorozos, and a contradistinction to this. Heim bo'im yom yom, lil motorah etzel zokein ziknon begoshen. When Yaakov Avinu came, what did they do every day? They went to learn Torah with their grandfather. Begetto HaYehudi, in the Jewish ghetto, ve'ena misnakrim la'amam. They didn't turn their back to their people. They didn't say, we don't know those people. They look funny. We are part of society. We're part of the Egyptians. And when ultimately servitude was decreed against their brothers, they went and they joined their brothers and they worked together with their brothers. They didn't go to the Egyptians saying, we were born in Egypt. Our father, don't you remember Joseph? He saved the entire land from famine. Not only that, he enriched it. Privilegios. We have privileges. They accepted upon themselves the yoke of exile, together with their brothers. Yaakov Avinu is looking at these two boys. Oz Omar Yaakov, halavai sheyikhu b'nei Yisrael lemofes as b'nei Yosef. What's the greatest blessing I could give? That my progeny for all time should take these two boys. They should be their ideal. They should be their model. Shenoldu b'Mitzrayim k'bnei malachim. They were born in Mitzrayim, royalty. Es mesirosam la'amam v'toraso. Their mesirus, their devotion to their people and to the Torah. And therefore, B'cho Yivarech Yisrael Lemar Yisimcha Elokim Ke-Ephraim Menashe. That's what every single father and mother should say. You should be like Ephraim Menashe. And then sadly, Reb Zalman closes his piece by saying, V'lunis kaima birchas kol av es banav. Had this been fulfilled, this blessing, b'nusacho shel Yaakov, the way Yaakov said it and the way he meant it, lohiya misbolalim b'Yisrael aleches liros b'sadas acherim, then there would not have been such assimilation. Children would not have wanted to go and graze in other pastures. We should be zocher with our children to see this bracha be fulfilled. Yisimcha Elokim Ke-Ephraim Menashe. They should know where they come from, and they should always be proud of it. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great Shabbos.